Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. That's the what? The 4 aphorisms. So, what is the meaning of this word Mahavakya? Mahavakya is that which gives the equation between Jiva and Brahma. A Bodhaka Vakyam is what is referred as Mahavakya. This is one. So what does it, this Mahavakyam teaches is, it teaches the oneness of Jiva and Brahman. Also, this Mahavakya is called because it expounds something subtle. Sukshma tatparya is what is given here. So, Sukshma tatparya vakyatvat Mahavakyam is another meaning we have for this word Mahavakya. That statement which gives a subtle meaning. Therefore, it is treated as Mahavakya. And then we saw why we have to take a separate pramana. This Vedas to be taken as separate pramana, the Shabda pramana. These are other pramanas. And in that Shabda pramana, we have words. And words have a limitation, the normal words. And is there any extraordinary word these people are using? No, they are also going to use the same normal words only. Now then, what difference does it make? So what is the limitation of the words? We have seen all that earlier. So I'm just recapping what we have seen so far. Then we found that the words collected and given in a specific one, there is a statement, and that statement has a particular style. We saw that statement has a specific one. Samanadikaranya vakya. What is the Samana? Adhikarana is one. Sama, all leading to the same. Very many words being used, but all referring to the same Adhikarana is called this Samanadikaranya vakya. You say, sir, when do we use that? Have you ever used it? Of course. The moment I give one example, all of you will remember it. Vishnu Sahasranama. You heard that? Right. Every word is different, no? Vishwam, Vishnur, Vashakkaraha, this one, Bhuta, Bhavya, Bhavat, Prabhu. Once it starts, right? Gada, 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 it goes. Sarva Prakarana Yuta. Right now it goes. Gada, 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 gada. 1,000 words are there. But all those 1,000 words are referring to that one Adhikarana. Isn't it? So that is called, that's a special style of usage. And then we saw what are the rules for that, such statements. Even for that Samanadikaranya also, there are certain rules for that. When it fits into that rule, it becomes Samanadikaranya. So we take this Mahavakyas to be taken as this. And if you go to grammar, it's unbelievable how much these people have did a huge analysis on statement only. Samanadikaranya is not a usual statement, it is an extraordinary statement. In that, they are having 16 different types of Samanadikaranya statements. So these people, when they debate, what type of Samanadikaranya is this statement? That needs to be established. So one person says it is this type, another person says, no, this is not that type. That's why beyond a point, it becomes too dry and too academical it is. And today we have lost that passion, at least the vast majority. Had lost that thing. Say, look here, don't talk to me all those things, sir. Tell me what to do. That's why we say this Mahavakya analysis, we do that thou art. The title, which is one of the Mahavakyas, actually. Of the 4 Mahavakyas, one of the Mahavakya is that the what? Me, tattvamasi. Now the whole chapter is that tattvamasi. Say, what is that? We see in the world, the entire segment of spiritual, quest or religions can be divided into 2 categories. One category of religion is that-centered religion. That-centered religion. Other group of religions which are thou-centered religions. Vedanta stands distinct and different from both. That's why this Vedanta is that thou art religion. This is very different. What is it, sir? Nothing great. I'm just, playing with words only. That's all it is, actually speaking. To follow it becomes very easy. Now, any religion, if you take religious thinking, theistic analysis, if you go to, either they inquire into what is God. Sir, I want to know, is there God? If there is God, what is his, what is her, or what is it? What is God? So essentially the whole analysis, whole thinking of all these people would be based on what is this religion. Religion based on the inquiry with reference to establishing the existence of God, inquiry into God, proving the presence of God. Very popular ones are all these religions, all these Abrahamic religions you have, all of them. And then you come this side, we have this Shaiva Siddhanta, Shakta, Kaumaram, all those sects, all those groups. What are they doing? They are trying to establish the existence of God. There are a group of religions where they say, okay, God Allah, I'm not interested. I wanted to do self-inquiry. Who are my inquirers? See, these people concentrate on Tao-centric religions. Like Buddhism, Jainism, very popular, yoga, right? All these schools, these people are not based, they are not worried about God and all that. Even though Patanjali refers to this God Ishvara, but there is no inquiry into Ishvara. He says he has one role to do, he has a job. That's all it is. More than that, there is no inquiry into God and all those things. That inquiry is with reference to what that individual is, what is his nature. So one group of people go in search for God. Another group of search of who am I? Individual centric, God centric. That's what we divide that into that centric religion and thou centric religion. That centric religion has certain stance. Thou centric religion has a stance. And as a rule, all of us know, the moment there is a stance, always there is advantage and a disadvantage to it. Right? What is that? The foundation for thou-centric religion is faith. You have to go based on the faith action. For them, faith is the point. For that-centric religions, tat-centric religions, Tvam-centric religion, and all that. Because there is no necessity for you to believe whether you exist or not. Isn't it? You exist. Is there any doubt? Existing is a mystery only, sir. That's a different thing. How pathetic my life is, a lot different thing. Right? I'm not talking about that. What quality of life, Allah, I'm not talking about. Do you exist? Yes or no? Do you have a doubt on that? He said, no, I exist. There is certainty with reference to my existence because it is self-evident. I need faith. In tat-centric religion, God-centric, Ishvara-centric religions. You can keep on playing with words now. Right? Ishvara-centric religions, there what is essential requirement? You have to have faith. Suppose if a fellow says, I don't believe in God, all they go out. That's why when you go for any debates, you always find, in the channels, you find, atheists and theists, people will be sitting, and 90% of the time we will find the theistic side losing the debate, as it were. Speaking, because fundamental requirement for that is what? Faith is a fundamental requirement. Faith is needed only when you cannot prove something which cannot be experientially given. Whereas thou-centric religion says, as you are today, you have a samsaric experiences. I will teach you to transform the samsaric experience into that of a blissful experience. I will give it to you. So therefore, today if you see, a lot of people are leaning towards this thou-centric. This tat-centric religions are losing their ground. Slowly they are losing their ground. Between the two itself, I am saying. And both together had to fight with atheists. Then the battle is very different nature. There is a tremendous competition because market is very limited. You see, it's a very small market. People following God, people following Satan, if you take. Satan's religion will win hands down if they have to have voting. Because the number of people there is more actually. So democratically, if you have to elect, God will pathetically lose. So, in this point of it, what is happening to these people? They say, is that thou art? And you say, Vedanta comes in and says, look here, man, if these two people were to be working separate segments, cannot succeed. Vedanta comes up with a beautiful blending of tat-centric and thou-centric religion and fuses something and gives it. That's why that thou art is. What is this? All that Vedanta says is, in this thou-centric religion, there is a certainty, isn't it? The thou-centric religion's certainty of your existence mixed with the infinitude of God. This combined force of that centric and thou-centric is what Vedanta is all about. Follow? You are certain, but as you are, what are you? You are such a tiny, limited, constricted, restricted individual you are. So you are living a life of finite. That's what he is giving in the topic. Finite is infinite. That is a topic. Now, how come? So the 4 aphorisms and then that centric religion, thou-centric religion, and what is Vedanta doing? Fuses. How it is doing that? I am God. And finite, this finite is infinite. So that's when you do, when there is a fusion of what are the two things gets fused here? The self-evident aspect of you, but the problem is the self-evident you is mixed with a concept. I am a finite individual. That's about it. I'm not a big person or anything. Even however fat I am. You are not a big fellow. You are a limited individual. So the limitations kept out. What is taken? The certainty dimension, the self-evident aspect of thou-centric religion is taken, and not the belief part and faith part and all those things in the that-centric religion. That-centric religion provides what? It provides, establishes the omniscience of God, omnipresence of God, all pervading. He is all blissful. He is infinite. That God's infinity is taken, certainty and God's infinity. That fusion, when that gets merges with these two, what will happen? You will reach a point. What is the point now? The point is, I am certainly infinite. That is Aham Brahmasmi. This is one line of thinking. See, like that, these things, can be analyzed from various angles. You see, depends on that day mood. Today, I'm not in a mood for Sanskrit grammar and all that. I said, okay, we will start from different angle today. You have to start from a different angle today. How do we do that? We start from a different inquiry. Then we inquire into the title of the chapter. I'm not explaining what is this, that the what as a aphorism. No. In that 4 aphorisms, that the what also will come there. When it comes there, we will analyze it in a different way. But now what we are doing is, we are trying to understand the chapter titled as that the what. Why that is given? One. That the what? Tattvamasi. That's the Sanskrit one. That is translated as that the what. So one from the aphorism level, another one is this. So then in that inquiry, we ask very many questions. So many things will keep coming and explanations and all that. That is why we say the definition for a Mahavakya is what, sir? It has to be explaining a very subtle tattva. No, sukshma tattva. The tattva should be very fine, difficult to discern, difficult to explore by ourselves. So whenever we find such statements, we call those statements as Mahavakyas. And every Upanishad, we have a Mahavakya. Almost every Upanishad will have Mahavakya. And of those Mahavakyas, we have chosen 4 Mahavakyas. And why we have chosen that or not, we will read that. When we read the topic, we will be able to understand that. Right. So first, let's understand what is this 4 aphorisms. Right. Yeah.
That thou art, the 4 aphorisms. The Vedas have been distinguished as the foremost spiritual texts from time immemorial. They contain the perennial philosophy of Vedanta, which has been indoctrinated in ancient India through 4 aphorisms known as Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas literally mean great statements, supreme declarations. They appear one in each of the 4 Vedas as follows. Pragnanam Brahma. Brahman is consciousness. Tattvamasi, that thou art. I am Atma Brahma. This self is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. The first aphorism, Pragnanam Brahma, Brahman is consciousness, appears in the Aitharya Upanishad in the Rig Veda. This aphorism makes a general declaration that Brahman, the supreme reality, is consciousness, the one homogeneous consciousness that pervades everywhere, that which functions in the macrocosm and the microcosm, the common substratum of the world and the individual. If the consciousness pervading the world is likened to total space, then the consciousness in an individual would be the space in a pot. But the space in a pot cannot be segregated from total space. The material of the pot cannot divide space. Space may be referred to as pot space, room space, open space, etc. All these spaces are one and the same. Space as such is homogeneous, indivisible, called differently for convenient reference. Likewise, consciousness is referred to differently, depending on its heterogeneous embodiments, though it remains ever homogeneous. The first aphorism pronounces its homogeneity. It is known as Lakshana vakya, which means statement of definition.
Yeah. There's four Mahavakyas appear in the 4 Vedas. See share the screen. This is the four Mahavakyas are there. The first one is Pragnanam Brahma. Pragnana means consciousness. Consciousness is Brahman. This appears in the Rig Veda. See, remember, initially, these Vedas were not 4. It's all one. That one Veda, subsequently, we realized that it is not possible for people to understand it. Therefore, Abhyasa divided that into 4 segments. This poetry, all that in poetic form, he compiled together and called it as Rig Veda, because it's all in Rig form. Poetry, you can take it as, it's a little easier for you to understand. Then those Vedic portions which are more prose and yajna application oriented, they're called as Yajurveda. Then there's a huge volume of the Veda portion had a single source called Atharvana Rishi. Since that single source, he called the whole thing as Atharvana Veda, Atharvan, giving it a name of the Rishi himself. Then this Rigvedic mantras and that Yajurvedic mantras and were all taken and given that with a particular note of singing it, not chanting. Can you sing that Vedic mantras? That is Samaveda. So Samaveda, if you see, 90% of Samaveda is just the same mantras. The mantras that is available in the Rig Veda, Yajurveda and all only will appear there, actually speaking. But then it is sung with a particular style that's known as Samaveda. Veda is only one. Since the division has happened, every Veda has the Upanishadic portion in that, which is the concluding portion of the Vedas. That's why we call it as Vedanta. One of the reasons for the subject to be called as Vedanta is the philosophy of the Vedas, the conclusion of the Vedas. What is the concluding part of the Veda is the Upanishads. Therefore, Upanishads were called as Vedanta. In that, there is an Upanishad called Aitareya Upanishad. There, this statement comes, the first aphorism, Pragnanam Brahma, that appears there. These statements were all taken, selected from different Vedas, different Upanishads, and Veda, we have taken one sample. That's about it. So the sample taken from the Rig Veda is this Pragnanam Brahma. The sample taken from Samaveda is tattvamasi, appearing in Chandogya Upanishad. In Chandogya Upanishad, it appears 9 times. It repeats, the teaching. This Chandogya Upanishad, this mantra appears there. In the Chandogya, 9 times he repeats that. In Chandogya, chapter 6. In chapter 6, Chandogya Upanishad gives this statement, tattvamasi. And then we have this I am Atma Brahma. The self is Brahman. This is taken from Atharvana Veda, Mandukya Upanishad. This one. There is another Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad. Not Mundaka, this is Mandukya. In that Mandukya Upanishad, this statement, I am Atma Brahma, is in the second mantra, chapter 1, second mantra, that is. Then we have the fourth aphorism, Aham Brahmasmi, appearing in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, chapter 1, section 4, mantra 10. That is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. 4 Vedas, 4 statements taken from the Upanishadic portion. Then we see that these statements were having a particular sequence also. Because usually when we refer as Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda. This is how we refer usually. But here you would have seen it is arranged, the little changing is there. Rigveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda, Yajurveda. To be more precise, Shukla Yajurveda. This is the arrangement it is. Why it is rearranged in this format is to establish a link and a connectivity with the 4 Mahavakyas. There is a sequence. What is the sequence? The first statement, Pragnanam Brahma, is referred as Lakshana Vakya. Statement of meaning. Definition for Brahman. So anyone were to ask what is Brahman, all that we have to say is Pragnanam Brahma. It is appearing in this Aitareya Upanishad. Part 3, chapter 1, mantra 3. 313. That's it. So there, this Aitareya Upanishad, one of the fascinating Upanishad. And each one of them were outstanding, pieces. Do the, study there, we will see how they are deriving that idea and how each one is, and then to go into the interpretations of how each master handles that statement is another amazing reason. Of course, I'm not planning to do all that actually. Now, all that we need to understand is this: there is a sequence, not random picking. These 4 statements are picked up not just randomly. One, there is a pregnant meaning in that, but then there is a sequence also there. What is the sequence? The first statement gives the definition of Brahman. So when the student comes and asks, what's God? It's completely lost. Actually, what is God? God is consciousness. Jnanam Brahma. Lakshana is given. If God is Pragnanam, consciousness, I'm also having consciousness, no? Are you not conscious? Yes, sir. Apo, what I am then? Where is my standing? What is my relationship with God? Standing is there. What is the connection? There comes the Upadesha vakya. Advice given to the student. Upadesha vakya. That is tattvamasi. And the most important of the 4, people say it is tattvamasi. Why? Because this is where we are actually given an advice. The seeker, student wants this only. Rest are all just adding on to it. Entire Veda essence is what? Upanishads. Of those 256 Upanishads, if we say Vedas Anantam, Tavai Vedaha, when we say Upanishads also has to be Ananta. They're supposed to be, Samaveda itself was supposed to have had about 1000 shakas, branches. And each shaka will have an Upanishad as an end part. And imagine how many Upanishads would have been there. But of course, as the time passes, things gets lost. Now there are only two we have. Chandogya and Kena Upanishad is the only two we have today. Otherwise, we don't know any other Upanishads actually there. So, this two shakas only are available today for us. Rest are all gone. Along with that, all the Upanishads also gone. Same way, we don't even know how many things are lost in this Rig Veda dimensions and Yajurveda dimensions and all that is. So, if we say Vedas are infinite, Upanishads also had to be infinite. But what is available to us today in the complete textual form, not just the names, is the 256 Upanishads are available today for us for studying purpose. So therefore we say 256. That's about it. Not that there is only that much is there. 256 Upanishads is the essence of the entire Vedas. Sir, what is the essence of those 256 Upanishads? These four statements are the essence of that. Which is the most important one? That is tattvamasi. Why? Because that is the Upadesha given by the Guru to the Shishya. What is the proof of it? This is the only Mahavakya gets repeated 9 times. The Mahavakya gets repeated. They just say once and move. That's it. You pick it up, you pick it up. If you don't pick it up, they say it's your problem. It's not my problem. And then he has to go back and do his Abhyasa. He has to reflect. He has to do that nididhyasana. Now, when he has to do that internal nididhyasana, for that there is another vakya taken. Because the Upadesha vakya cannot be done as a nididhyasana for my practice. Because that is the statement given by the Guru to me. This I cannot do. I have to use a different one. What is that? That is this Abhyasa vakya, the third one. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. Now when you go for a walk, you can keep chanting this. I am Atma Brahma. It will come very nice. The rhythm will be superb actually. And get a good rhythm. Atma Brahma. I'm not recommending that. I'm only saying how rhythmic it is. That's all. Okay. I'm not recommending you people to do that. It is, these things are all, insult to that Mahavakya. Don't try all that. Okay. There is a sanctity to that Mahavakya. But this is the Abhyasa vakya. The student takes it up and practices this nididhyasana. Meditation, okay. Don't think that he is going to sit and do meditation there. No. This is Abhyasa. Nididhyasana they do. And then after through that nididhyasana, he realizes the oneness. After realizing the oneness, the student declares Aham Brahmasmi. He declares that. Aham Brahmasmi. That roaring of a man of realization says Aham Brahmasmi. There it is called as Anubhava Vakya. Statement of experience. So statement of definition, statement of advice, statement of practice, statement of experience. So here we have these 4 Mahavakyas for us to inquire. So here first thing is this Pragnanam Brahma. Now remember, the statement, these Upanishads were taught to people who have reached that emotional maturity. Right? Now we are studying because it is there in the book. Otherwise, I'm not going to be studying all these things. I'm not going to be reading all this and explaining all this. We are doing it why? Because we need to know something is there like that also, sir. Now we understand the profundity of these inquirers and their things. That's about it. So here we start this inquiry. This is given to whom first we need to understand. To whom this Mahavakya is addressed. This is addressed to someone who practiced this Vaga of the Vedas, where he has already practiced this karma and upasana. He has completed the practice of karma, which means he has practiced karma yoga and upasana yoga, or in this little liberal term could be bhakti yoga. The one who practiced karma yoga and the one who has practiced bhakti yoga. With karma yoga, chitta shuddhi happens. With bhakti yoga, chitta aikagriyam happens. Purification of the mind and concentration of the mind. Through devotion, you get concentration. Through upasana, you get concentration. Through karma, you get purification. Mind which is matured means the mind which is pure and the mind which is concentrated. The concentrated pure mind. So to such a mind, this knowledge is given. He comes and asks, what is God? So that master has to explain now to that student. Says, the difficulty you need to understand here for the teacher. The master's difficulty you should sympathize actually, because that master knows any word that he is going to say to define Brahman is not defining Brahman. Right? But then he has to communicate it only through the word. That is why we say their effort is extraordinary. Why we have tremendous reverence to those Mahatmas, those great rishis, is he uses an extraordinary way. He explains, says, Pragnanam Brahma. That consciousness is Brahman. Now here we do a little analysis about consciousness, how we are all understanding consciousness means. Right. Now for all of us in the sense, one way of looking at it is consciousness is nothing but a byproduct of matter. That is consciousness. That's all. What is it? It's on a brain. In the brain, some chemical changes are all happening. As a result of the chemicals in the brain, there is consciousness. You go and ask the anesthetist, they will say that. Okay. Knock off that fellow first. What is so interesting is anesthesis can knock off that consciousness, but regaining has to happen by itself. You can inject consciousness to that fellow. If they can inject consciousness, it's very easy. You can destroy the consciousness, but you can't create it. That is not possible for them. That's why it is a high specialization, they say. Anesthetist's job is such a complicated one. See, because they have to give just enough dose. Define that, how much can be given so that you go in, they do the surgery, they stitch and all those things. And after stitching and all those things, you are supposed to wake up after 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. Now, how do you know he will wake up? That's why they keep the fellow in ICU. Immediately they will not be transferred into the ward room. Why? Consciousness is a byproduct of matter. That's all. Brain chemicals, body, all matter that. So consciousness is byproduct of that. One group. Right. We call those people as materialism and all this. Then we have another group of people. itself is actually created by consciousness. Consciousness is that which has created the thing. God is the one who created the world, no. Do you say God is unconscious? No, no, no. Our God has to be conscious only. How can you be insentient? So the sentient is the real, is the foundation. Insentiency is an expression, surface. Exact opposite of the first fellow. First fellow says matter is the grounding. This is just an appearance. No, consciousness is, appearance is matter. God created the world. All those people who say God created the world belongs to this category. Then there is a third fellow comes and says, both are wrong. There is also nothing. Consciousness also nothing. Both are empty. Out of that emptiness only, one part is projected by you, by your ignorance. You are thinking as consciousness, another as is this Buddhism. Right. Now, what is Vedanta saying? Vedanta says, look here, fourth positioning is what Vedantic positions. Vedanta says all three fallacious. Then what is the position of Vedanta? I'm not going to be explaining into how they establish it and all that. That's not the way we can understand it. Very complex that is. We're not going into that, this discussion. But you need to understand. There are three. Then there is a fourth position. What is the fourth position is the apprehension that you are able to see. Vedanta says, look here, we don't want any extraordinary experiences and all that. You are seeing, you are hearing, you are smelling, tasting. Is there any doubt? Do you have a doubt on that? No, sir. What you see may differ. What you hear may differ. What you taste may differ. What you touch may differ. All that is different. But then, all that is registered in that one consciousness, no? Or do you have a separate consciousness? For this one, that one, that one, that one? No. You have all that is getting registered in one. Correct. Now mark this words carefully. It will look like we are playing with words. Right? But that's how you need to understand. There's no other option we have. Whatever you see as the world outside, is it appearing to consciousness or appearing in consciousness? Huh? Is it experienced in consciousness or experienced by consciousness? This is where the difference comes into picture. Just that one little word. Experienced by and experienced in. That by and in, the fight. The entire arguments you find in this spectrum is this difference only. See, in that, Shakespeare's play, there is a Julius Caesar. There's a huge division, in this literature school. There are two groups of people you will find. Whether Brutus is genuine or he's a villain. Actually, Caesar is a villain, sir. Brutus is a good fellow. And Brutus is a villain. On what basis now? The basis is a day before the assassination, there is a soliloquy by Brutus. All these conspirators have a meeting and they decide tomorrow everyone is going to carry the dagger inside and bring him to the court and assassinate him. Meeting was done, decision was taken, and everybody leaves. After everyone leaves the scene, there is a soliloquy by Brutus. And that soliloquy starts as it must be by his death. That's a starting point. It must be by his death. Now, the argument people have is, what did Brutus mean by the word it? The goodness of Rome or personal vendetta or agenda of Brutus? Selfish interest of Brutus to become the king. Is that because he understands? What is it, sir? When he says it must be, what is it? As long as Caesar is alive, there is no way I have a chance of becoming a king. So, that idea of me becoming a king can happen only by his death. So, that's what he means by it must be by his death. You say, no. That it is not referring to that. It is referring to the goodness of Rome. If Rome has to develop, if Rome has to grow, that is possible only by ticking off Caesar. Therefore, it refers to this point. What he means by it is this. The only way we can resolve that is what? Wake up, Shakespeare from his grave and say, hey, what did you mean, man? Yeah, I never wrote that, and he will go back. Well, the interpretations and all, goes based on these things only. Vedanta says, now what you people are all believing is the waves, the froth, the foam, all that, when you are standing in the shore, seeing it, vis-a-vis ocean making a statement. Ocean will say it as what? Froth is different, fume is different, wave is different, each wave is different, all that. But the ocean will say what? All that different things are all happening in me only. Nothing outside. So what is this? The whole thing is what? Only ocean. Same way, in that Aitareya Upanishad, that's exactly what this master does. He goes to a huge analysis of what is world, what is an individual, and what all the ways, various vrittis, various thought patterns that is appearing in the mind, various states of the mind, everything he covers. After covering everything, finally he comes to a conclusion. In fact, this Pragnanam Brahma, third chapter when it is appearing, there, it's not the conclusion or the statement teaching made by the Guru. This appears in the section where the students sit and do the reflection. He reflects it. That reflection, he arrives at a conclusion. After processing the whole thing, Finally, he comes to a conclusion that Pragnanam alone can be Brahman. That consciousness is Brahman. It looks so simple. Actually, the statement is a very simple statement. In fact, if we say more profound, it will appear so simple. Isn't it? Like, you just give a timing to the washing machine and go. Correct? Automatic. Starts at that time, he washes, it completes the washing and it completes the drying. Thing completed at a particular time. It does everything and ready when you come back. If you open that and see inside, it's like a computer. Of complex things are all there inside. But for a person who's using that, it looks so simple. All that I have to do is what? Take the cloth, dump it inside, switch on and go away. That's all I have to do. It is so simple for the end user. But for making it so simple for the end user, how much of work? That's why we say, anytime if the class is very simple, the teacher has put in so much of effort. If the class is so confusing, that means teacher has not put in any effort. The book is so easy to read. That means the author has slogged and worked to make it simple. The profound ones are always simple. Now we think we want all complex things today. Nothing should be normal. Weird statements you have to make. Talk something so weird. All of us say, what a font, what a statements. Beautiful statement. Nothing like that. It's a simple statement it is. Pragnanam Brahma. That's all it is. Amazing conclusion he comes to. Now, how he derives is what he is giving in this paragraph. What is a derivation of that? A beautiful derivation. I'll explain that in the next class because it's already time now. So we go into the derivation part of it, we will lose the whole thing. We'll get totally lost in the, this one. So all that it says is the entire universe has consciousness as the base, external world, and the entire internal world also has the base founded in consciousness only. So that which is the base consciousness there and consciousness here, that adhisthana on which the whole thing is existing, experienced, survives, is Brahman. That's all. And our problem will be, yeah, he thought God, you will say something, he is all powerful. If he does, that will happen, this will happen. And, he will come and protect the dharmic people. And obviously, I am a very dharmic person. So he will come as a Z security. God will come and give me that security. This is what we think. But you go to the Upanishads, it gives such a flat definition for God. Is what is God? Pragnanam Brahma. We think, God is exciting. We thought such a big thing you are going to say about God. Suddenly you say what? The consciousness that is there, which is the base, which is the foundation, which the entire loka, the entire world is there. And the student goes through the entire one. So therefore he says, entire life means consciousness, means awareness. everything that has consciousness. Life can never understand what it is to be unconscious. There's no such thing called unconscious. Existence is conscious. That's about it. If you remove consciousness out of existence, then existence is registered by whom? That is why all religions, they start talking about world's creation and all that only after human beings have entered. For human beings, was there sunrise and sunset? No, no. Why? Because who will say it was there? Who is going to say it was not there? Isn't it? When I ask a question, was there this, that? Who is going to report? Nobody is going to report it. If nobody is going to be there reporting it, what is the proof that you have for its existence? So for you to establish the existence, it's possible only when there is consciousness. Like light understand darkness, isn't it? Mr. Sun will never know what is night time. Mr. Sun, yesterday night this happened. Yesterday night, did you see that? At this full moon, was seen, so big. Guru Purnima yesterday, full moon. Purnima that was. Full moon is beautiful, that was yesterday. To see that. Did you see that? Beautiful one. He'll say, what? Moon, I understand. See that fellow. But you say night. What is night? When you are not there, when there is darkness all around, that's called night. If you tell sun, darkness, he can never understand what you mean by that. The meaning of darkness he will never know. It's like you are telling a blind man yellow color. What understand? He will understand what is it, sir. There was a color called yellow, that he will know. But what is that yellow? Possible. Similarly, life means consciousness. Deleting consciousness, there is no life possibility itself. Existence possibility itself goes out of window. So therefore, he says, what is the adhara for the whole thing is Pragnanam Brahma. This is the conclusion of it. The student comes to that conclusion. That's the best part of this Aitara Yoga. It is a student statement. Other three were all, master saying it. Lakshana vakya, statement of definition. And why they have taken this Lakshana vakya statement made by the student is another reason, another beautiful form. Because the master will never attempt to define God. But a student cannot not define it. Of all the attempts made by the student, the closest that comes is Pragnanam Brahma. That's why it is given as Lakshana vakya, statement of definition. How he comes in. This is the gist of it. And then there are steps that he goes through. We'll see that in the next class. Then we'll go, aphorism by aphorism, so that, you spend little time with each one of it. So we understand the profundity of each statement. Right. See the next class. Hari Om.